In the midst of World War II, the Allies were facing a daunting task: the invasion of Nazi-occupied Europe. By 1943, the tide of the war had begun to shift in favor of the Allies, but the road to victory would be long and arduous. The Germans had fortified their defenses along the Atlantic Wall, and the Allies knew that a successful invasion would require meticulous planning and deception. It was in this context that the British conceived one of the most audacious and ingenious operations of the war, Operation Mincemeat. The operation was born out of the necessity to mislead the Germans about the Allies' plans for the invasion of Europe. The Allies had been planning to invade Sicily, but they knew that the Germans were aware of their intentions. To throw them off the scent, the British devised a plan to create a fictional military operation, complete with fake documents, codes, and even a fake military officer. The goal was to convince the Germans that the Allies were planning to invade Greece and Sardinia, rather than Sicily. The operation would require the creation of a convincing narrative, supported by fake intelligence and convincing characters. The Allies would have to create a fictional world, complete with its own geography, military units, and strategic objectives. The operation would also rely on the use of a rather unconventional method: the corpse of a recently deceased man, dressed in a Royal Marine uniform, and carrying fake documents and identification. The body would be washed ashore in Spain, where it would be discovered by German agents, who would then extract the fake documents and report back to Berlin. The Allies hoped that the Germans would take the bait, and begin to prepare for an invasion that would never come. The success of the operation would depend on the ability of the Allies to create a convincing narrative, and to execute the plan with precision and care. To execute their plan, the Allies would need to utilize a crucial piece of technology: the waterproof canister, designed by Charles Fraser Smith, a British inventor and engineer who worked closely with MI5, the British Security Service. This canister was made of brass, measuring about 6 inches long and 3 inches in diameter, and was designed to be attached to the wrist of the deceased man, dressed as a Royal Marine officer. The canister was a marvel of engineering at the time, capable of withstanding the harsh conditions of the sea, keeping the fake documents and identification papers dry and intact. Its contents would include a letter from Lord Louis Mountbatten, the Chief of Combined Operations, to General Sir Harold Alexander, the Commander-in-Chief of the Middle East Command, discussing the fictional invasion plans. Additionally, the canister would contain a number of personal letters and documents, all carefully crafted to reinforce the narrative of the fictional military operation. The Allies were acutely aware that the success of the operation depended on the authenticity of the documents and the ability of the canister to protect them from the elements. The Germans had to believe that the documents were genuine, and that the Royal Marine officer had been carrying them on a mission of great importance. The waterproof canister was a key component in this deception, and its role in the operation cannot be overstated. It would play a crucial part in convincing the Germans that the Allies were planning to invade Greece and Sardinia, rather than Sicily, and would ultimately contribute to the success of the operation. The waterproof canister, a marvel of engineering at the time, was a critical component in the success of Operation Mincemeat. But what made it so effective at protecting the fake documents and identification papers from the harsh conditions of the sea? The canister was designed with a double-sealed lid, ensuring that the contents remained dry even when submerged in water. This was a crucial innovation, as it allowed the Allies to create a convincing narrative that the documents had been carried by the Royal Marine officer on a mission of great importance, without worrying about the integrity of the papers being compromised by water damage. The canister's design also took into account the need for it to be able to withstand the corrosive effects of salt water. The materials used in its construction were carefully selected to be resistant to corrosion, ensuring that the canister would remain intact even after being submerged in the sea for an extended period. This attention to detail was crucial, as it allowed the Allies to create a convincing scenario that the documents had been washed ashore after the Royal Marine officer's body was lost at sea. The canister's ability to protect the documents was also due in part to its compact size and lightweight design. This made it easy to transport and handle, allowing the Allies to move it quickly and efficiently as part of the operation. The combination of its compact size, lightweight design, and advanced materials made the waterproof canister an essential component in the success of Operation Mincemeat. By using this technology, the Allies were able to create a convincing narrative that would ultimately deceive the Germans and contribute to the success of the operation. In the context of 1943, the waterproof canister used in Operation Mincemeat was a remarkable feat of engineering, reflecting the Allies' growing understanding of the importance of materials science in warfare. The use of corrosion-resistant materials, such as stainless steel or chromium-plated alloys, was a significant advancement, as it allowed the canister to withstand the harsh marine environment. This attention to detail was not limited to the canister alone, as the entire operation relied on a deep understanding of the physical properties of the materials used. The compact size and lightweight design of the canister, which measured approximately 12 inches long and 7 inches in diameter, were also crucial in facilitating its transportation and handling. This was particularly important, given the need for the canister to be transported from London to Scotland, and then to the submarine that would ultimately release the body off the coast of Spain. The ability to move the canister quickly and efficiently was essential in maintaining the operation's timeline, as any delays could have compromised the entire plan. In analyzing the technology used in Operation Mincemeat, it becomes clear that the Allies' use of advanced materials and design principles played a significant role in the operation's success. The waterproof canister, in particular, was a masterful example of how a well-designed piece of equipment could be used to deceive the enemy and achieve a strategic advantage. By understanding the properties of materials and using them to their advantage, the Allies were able to create a convincing narrative that would ultimately deceive the Germans and contribute to the success of the operation. This level of attention to detail and commitment to using the best available technology would become a hallmark of Allied operations for the remainder of the war. The success of Operation Mincemeat had far-reaching implications that extended beyond the confines of the operation itself. By successfully deceiving the Germans about the Allied invasion plans, the Allies were able to gain a strategic advantage that would prove crucial in the months and years that followed. The Germans, convinced that the Allies would invade Greece and Sardinia, began to shift their military resources to those areas, leaving the actual invasion site in Sicily relatively undefended. This misallocation of resources would ultimately contribute to the success of the Allied invasion of Sicily, codenamed Operation Husky, which would take place just a few months later. The impact of Operation Mincemeat can also be seen in the broader context of the war. The successful use of deception and misdirection in the operation would serve as a model for future Allied operations, including the famous D-Day landings in Normandy. The Allies would continue to use deception and misdirection to great effect, often using fake military units, false radio transmissions, and other forms of deception to confuse and mislead the Germans. In addition, the success of Operation Mincemeat highlighted the importance of cooperation and coordination between different branches of the military and intelligence agencies. The operation involved a complex web of relationships between the British Navy, the Royal Air Force, and the intelligence agencies, and its success was due in large part to the ability of these different organizations to work together seamlessly. This level of cooperation would become a hallmark of Allied operations for the remainder of the war, and would play a significant role in the ultimate defeat of Nazi Germany. The impact of Operation Mincemeat can also be seen in the development of modern military strategy and tactics. The operation's use of deception and misdirection would influence the development of modern military doctrine, and would serve as a model for future military operations. As the Allies continued to push the Germans back, the legend of Operation Mincemeat only grew, a testament to the power of creative thinking and meticulous planning in the art of warfare. The operation's impact was felt far beyond the beaches of Sicily, influencing the development of modern military strategy and tactics in profound ways. The use of deception and misdirection, once considered unorthodox, became an integral part of military doctrine, a powerful tool in the arsenal of commanders seeking to gain a strategic advantage. Today, we can look back on Operation Mincemeat as a turning point in the war, a moment when the tide of battle began to shift irreversibly in favor of the Allies. The operation's success was a tribute to the ingenuity and determination of the men and women who conceived and executed it, a testament to the enduring power of human creativity and perseverance in the face of overwhelming adversity. As we reflect on the daring deception that fooled Nazi Germany, we are reminded that, even in the darkest of times, there is always hope, always a way forward, no matter how improbable it may seem. And it is this lesson, perhaps more than any other, that continued